Welcome back to the channel. This week on the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener we have a mooch around the greenhouse which I have finally finished planting out. Then we check up on the progress of the back garden, how some of the plants, the veggies, are going or not going. And finally we check out on a creation that I came up with on the spur of the moment to protect my lettuce. Come potter with me in the garden. My name is Dawn and I am the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener. Good morning. Well, it is Wednesday the 3rd of December and it's about 10 o'clock in the morning. I've already been out about pottering around, but I thought we'd come into the greenhouse. You can have a look at what it looks like. It's all done. It's ready. It's going. And the plants are taking off, which is awesome. We've had some reasonably hot weather, so yeah, it's been all good. Now, my task for today is just to check, do my weekly check for tying up and also tweaking out laterals, etc. But also this week is the week that I need to do the seaweed feed. So while I'm doing that, I will check each plant and see what it needs, whether it needs tying up, if there's any laterals that need to be removed, etc., or trimming. So far I'm being really good. It's been done every week, maybe later in the season. Today's a great day for it because it's cool, so I'm not going to cook in here. So I'm all good with that. Now, I have crammed a lot in here. So I've got 2 rows or 2 deep of plants in pots using my shrub tubs, and just behind me I've got 3 other pots. The rest is shelves, which you can see in the background, and they have got seedlings on them. And actually we'll have a look at some of the seedlings because I'd love some input from you around the beans, because I'm having a few problems with propagating my beans from seed. I'll show you later in the day. We'll do a few updates around the garden, but I'll show you what's happened to one row of my beans. And I am pretty sure when I planted those ones, I used 2 different packets. So, but in general, I'm getting some really weird things happening with my beans, and I'm not quite sure why. Happened last year, and I thought it was something to do with the seed, but I've got fresh seed and all that, so I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. But we'll have a look in here first and see what's going on. Just give me a minute and I'll reposition the camera because it's pretty crowded in here. So down the door end, I've got predominantly tomatoes. I've got one stray one down the far end, but he'll move up here in the next day or two. He was a sort of an afterthought that I found a pot and popped him in. So I've got mainly cherries and things. I've got one mystery tomato at the back due to losing the label. That huge one at the back here is a black cherry, and this one here is the one that I only got one seedling out of the 5 seeds I planted, and that was a late plant, and it was a new one called Brad's Atomic Grape, and you know, for $6 you got 10 seeds, so it was a bit But anyway, I've got one, and it's not an F1 or anything like that, so I'm hoping if I get fruit off it, I'll be able to save the seed and it'll breed true. So yeah, looking forward to that. The other ones I've got in here, that's another, I suppose it was a heritage. It's one called Artisan Plum? No, Artisan Blush. It's a plum tomato. Last year I did some plum tomatoes, but they were potato leaf ones, and they were really quite sickly, weedy little things. So this year I've done just a standard one, so I'm quite happy with that. The one behind that is another black cherry that I accidentally planted more of. I didn't mean to, but I did. And the one behind there that you can't quite see is another heritage one that I planted quite late, and that is Anise Noir, which is a beefsteak tomato, and it is a bi-coloured one, and I gather it's quite sweet, so it's green and red, so looking forward to that. Down here where you can't see, I have replaced the patio snacker cucumber that I had done in July that was looking really sickly. I did cut it back and it did come away a bit, but it wasn't really going anywhere. It just sort of sat there. So I've replaced it with a brand new one and it's taking off, so that's good. So we'll have a look at the second half of the greenhouse now. Just give me a sec. In the middle section of my greenhouse, I've got some capsicums. So I've got my Marconi Red, which I'm really looking forward to. I really like those ones. There's a bell pepper there that's a golden bell, and it's already got 4 fruit on it, so that's good. That one is that's my cornetto one. So that's good. It's taking off. Here in front of those, I've got my watermelon, which is the sugar baby, and you can't quite see it, but here it is down here. Yeah, no, just can't quite see it. It's about that big at the moment, and I need to put up a support structure for that at some stage, but it's not big enough for that yet. Next to that, I've got rock melon, and they're doing really well, actually. I'll have to do a wee bit of tying up today, but they're putting out their tendrils, so that's a really good sign that they're doing that. And there's my extra tomatoes that I just had, hanging around that I couldn't get rid of, so I planted them. And I think they're both cherries. So I've been naughty and I planted 2 in a pot. But when you're getting to this part of the season and you're running out of pots and what have you, but you still got loads of plants and you don't want to dump them, you do what you do. So I've got that. I have done 2 plants per pot, especially in the shrub tubs, and they do fine right through to about February, but you do need to feed them regularly, otherwise they will pack a sad, and when you do get rid of them at the end of the season, they are fairly root bound, but they give you a good amount of fruit for the time that they're in the pot before they start to get a bit tired, as they would normally go through an aging session. Right, the back end of the greenhouse, I'll just turn you around and I'll just turn the camera around so you can see it, because I can't get in that corner, not with the camera and the chair, etc. Right, so this is the far corner from the door, and it's my chilli corner, though I have a melon there called Western Express, which is meant to be one that's more tolerant to cooler temperatures. No, sorry, that's my Lebanese cucumber. The Western Express is behind it. Then I've got 3 chilies just along here. So there's a standard cayenne, a Aji lemon, and a habanero, orange habanero. And I've been really naughty again, because I had plants and I didn't want to waste them. I've planted 2 to a pot. But they're taking off and they seem happy, and as long as I keep feeding them, they should be fine. So there's just one more thing I'll show you other than the beans, and I'll just turn the camera around so you can see it. This is my passion fruit vine that I hacked out over winter. So it was at the other end of the greenhouse next to the door, and it was a huge amount of growth on it. It'd been in there about 18 months. But the trouble I had last summer was that it kept trying to get out the door and I couldn't shut the door. So I cut it right back over winter, and I didn't move the plant physically as far as taking it out of dirt. It was in a Bunnings raised Bunnings raised planter, so I literally just dragged the whole thing down to the other end of the greenhouse, put up a small support structure around it, and it's taking off. I do need to do a wee bit of tidying on it, the end that you can't see next to the shelving unit. I've tidied up the end closest to the tomato or the chili thing, but I just cleared out some seedlings from the top of the shelf this morning, and I just need to do a wee tidy up. And sitting here, I have just spotted my first flower, which is awesome because I was a bit concerned, having hacked it back so much, that it might not flower this year and produce fruit. But there's a flower there. It's near the top. You can't see it. It's underneath the automatic hatch, and yeah, that's great. So hopefully another one will show up, and I will hand pollinate them, because although I get quite a lot of insects in here, I do know that last year with my passion fruit, the early fruit that I got, while there was fruit, there was actually nothing inside the fruit, which would have indicated that there had been ineffective pollination. Sorry, you may or may not hear, it's actually started to rain, which we were forecast for, but that's fine. So yeah, that's pretty good. So what I'll do in a sec is I'll whip you around and we'll have a look at these beans, and you might be able to help me with some information about that. Okay, so I'm a bit jammed in here, sorry, it's not a great shot, but it is what it is. So these are my beans. They're a variety dwarf beans called top crop, and it's a variety I've used for years. Never had a lot of problems with them, but see if I can find it. I'm not sure if you can see. So this, look, see how it's all weird. Its roots are, see if I can bring it right in. Yeah. And I've got another container. I'll see if I can grab that one. That might show it a bit better. And it's been happening. You see how that one's got no end? I did wonder if something was eating them. I'll just pull it out because it's stuffed. But you can see, get it around, Dawn, that it's, I did wonder if it was maybe fungus gnats that were eating it, but they're really distorted too. So, I mean, that's the seed pod there, but look at the roots, which would sort of say to me it might be fungus gnats, because fungus gnats do eat the roots, but even with this one here, it's coming up weird. And that one's weird. So I really don't know what's happening with them. So if you've got any info about beans, or you've had that problem with beans, dwarf beans, my runner beans seem to have been okay, and they've been in the same area environment. So if it was fungus gnats, I would have thought that the fungus gnats would have got the runner beans as well, but it's just the dwarf beans that are doing it. And my butter beans, dwarf butter beans, they're just not coming up. And I've changed, I've got fresh seed, so it's not an old packet of seed. And last year, I even thought at one point that I'd forgotten to plant them, that I prepped everything, done the other two, I did green and purple, and that I forgot to actually plant the yellow ones. And I thought, oh yeah, that'd be me. And so I replanted them, and still nothing came up. So I then got another packet of seeds, and I think it was actually even a different brand, same type but different brand, and still had no luck with them. So I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. I've grown beans for years, but yeah, it's confusing. But we'll go and look at later the ones outside. It's not going to rain all day. It's just showers, light showers scattered. And we'll have a look at them. But in the meantime, I'll leave you here, and I am going to just do the watering, tying up. You don't want to watch that. If you do at any time want to see how to manage your tomatoes, just pop something in the comments and I will do a thing on it. How to trim them and tidy them and keep them from becoming triffids. I recently, earlier this week, went and helped out a friend who wasn't around. They'd been away for several weeks, and I nipped into water because the person that had been doing it wasn't around anymore. They had gone elsewhere. And unfortunately, their tomatoes had turned into triffids. and I'm not kidding, triffids. They were all over the place with laterals that were longer than my arm. Well, actually, laterals longer than me. And I know I'm short. I'm only 5'2" in old measurements. But yeah, I spent considerable time making them usable again. So, you know, tying them up, getting rid of all the excess growth and what have you. They do look a wee bit naked now in bits, because when they sort of end up going over themselves and turning into sort of a contorted bush, the growth doesn't grow nice and bushy along the stem. But they will sprout again, and they will look good. And I mean, there's already fruit on them, so it will give them the option of more fruiting. And I'll give them a feed and what have you this week, later this week, when I go in to do the next lot of watering. So yeah, if you do want me to do a how to keep your tomato from turning into a triffid, just let me know in the comments, and I'm quite happy to do a session on that. I can let one of my tomatoes go very slightly, and then we can do a session on it. Right, I'm going back to do my watering, and I've got a coffee out that's sitting just outside the door that's getting cold, so I must get that as well. Catch you soon. Well, it's after lunch now, same day. It's still Wednesday the 3rd. And we'll come out to have a look at the beans first, but I'll have a look at a couple of other things for you to check out as well while we're here. Yeah, so I'll have to bring the camera down and show you what's happened to the beans. But just checked, it's actually the green beans, none of them have come up. It's the yellow beans that's gone half and half, and they're all dwarf beans, so yeah. I've also decided I'm catching up with some gardening buddies, so I'm going to take the debris of my beans and see if any of them have got any idea, but I still would love your input as well. So we'll have a look at this. I will back sow today. I don't know if any of you do this, but when I find that something that I've direct planted hasn't completely come up for whatever reason, I mean, you know, early in season, I'm pretty sure I've got Mr. and Mrs. Field Mouse who help themselves. But, you know, things like that, when I've got big gaps or maybe the seeds hadn't germinated, I'll just put in extra. So I back sow. I've done it with the peas, and I'll show you my peas in a minute. Both the ones that we put in from the 6 cells and the ones that we sowed direct. So yeah, I'll just back sow these ones and see how we go. But I'll just turn you around and bring you down and show you what's happening here. Slightly wonky shot, but there we are, and I won't be in it. But as you can see, the beans here, half of them have germinated, and then there's absolutely nothing on the other side. And I'm pretty sure that's because the other side was a packet of beans that had been previously opened, but they weren't old beans, because I had been sowing some in 6 cells for some other people, and that was the newer packet. But, alright, we'll go over this side. This is where my other beans are, and I've got absolutely nothing out of them. So I'm going to have to go grab the bean pack and have a look at it in a minute and see what the hell's going on. Not holding my breath, but we will look at it. So let's just move quickly to the peas, and we'll catch up with a couple of things around the garden. So the peas there are the ones that came out of the 6 cell. They were sulked for a wee bit, but they've taken off now, and as you can see, I've got peas forming, and there's quite a few along there, so I'm quite pleased with that. And this is my new ones, and they've come out nice and healthy and what have you. It's just a little gap in the middle, not quite sure why, but I have back sowed those, so I'm hoping that they'll pop up in the very, very near future. So that's my peas. Now we'll have a quick look at the carrots that we did and how effective the wee tunnels have been. So I'm a bit of an odd angle, I'm sorry, but I wanted to be able to show you the cages. And they've worked really well. There's carrots up, they're just, you know, like that far up, but that's fine. Mainly a reasonable spread, probably more from my uneven sowing than anything. Both the ones that I did initially with the little bamboo stakes, that stayed in place, and we've had some quite strong winds too. And the ones that I did with the tent pegs, cats haven't disturbed them at all, so I'm really pleased. So easy to be able to just water and what have you. I will leave these in place till the carrots are probably just sort of touching the top of the little top of this, and yeah, that size worked really well. And I think that's what, 1, 3, 4, 5, so that's a gap of that's using 6 and a wee bit of those gaps, those squares on that standard roll that you can buy. It's just the plastic mesh that you can get. As I said, lasts forever. I've got stuff that, like with the peas and the beans, that's been around for years and years. This one here was an old one because it didn't bend as easy. It had been stored further down the garden, but that was a newer one. But yeah, they do last for years and years, and I'm definitely going to do this again. It's worked out really well. And I may actually have to do something similar with the courgettes and things, and I'll show you in a minute how they're going and what's happening with them, because I've had some casualties, not just the initial ones when I didn't put the stakes up. So yeah, we'll go and have a look at the courgettes and the pumpkins. Won't be a moment. Okay, another weird angle, but yeah, it is what it is. So what's happened? So initially I lost, was it this one? Yeah, this one, probably to bow. And what one is that one? Oh, that's the Cocosella. And I didn't have any spare in the greenhouse. And then, even with the sticks in, he managed to get the, I think it's the yellow one, the sun gold one. So I have since planted seed. I've put 2 seeds for each of these and put in some more sticks and defences. I actually, yesterday, found, because I was doing a bit of tidying in the greenhouse and things, I did find a sun gold that I had been holding for someone, but they hadn't picked it up. So I could, in theory, plant that, but it's just out behind me at the moment. I had it there, just hardening off a bit before I popped it in. So, because it's been in the greenhouse. So yeah, I've been watering these patches with the seeds every day. They need it today. I thought it was going to rain this morning, a wee bit more than it did. We got about half a dozen drops. So yeah, I'll give them a quick water once we're finished. So yeah, might be a funny year for my courgettes yet. It might be all or nothing, but we'll see how it goes. So that's my defences, and I think if need be, I may have to put a ring of the green netting around them to see if I can stop bow, because this morning I caught him just over here. You can't see, it's just slightly off, and he was digging like anything, so like try and find the bottom of the bed. So yeah, it's a nuisance, but it's joys of gardening and having fur babies. But you just got to try and outsmart the little furries. But anyway, I want to show you the onions, because there's something happening with them that I want to talk to you about. These are the onions that we put in probably about 3-4 weeks ago. Some of them were from flat seed raising trays, and so I put them in individually. Others were from 6-cell and having multi-sown. So they've done really well. I'm really pleased. My only concern is that I have noticed rust on some of them, and I have picked those leaves off and disposed of them. But I did spot some just before. My big concern and curiosity is that I'm thinking I might have allium leaf miner, which, is really unusual here, but I'll have to bring you down closer to show these. But allium leaf miner isn't something I've ever had to deal with. I've heard lots of other people talk about it, and including people like Charles Dowding, who hasn't had a problem with it until recently himself. But what happens is that the leaves will start curling over in weird contorted ways. I can't see anything there, and I'm doing a wee bit more research about it myself because I don't know a lot about it other than what I've heard online. But I'm pretty sure it's, it might be. I've noticed that I've had leaf miner and a couple of other things, something I've never ever had as a problem with. But just in the last 12 months, I've noticed that some of my brassicas have had leaf miner, and it's quite distinctive, the leaf miner. It's like you can hold the leaf up and you can see where something is literally tunneled through, and sometimes you can see the wee thing between the two layers of the leaf, and it eats the internal part, and it just leaves a sort of a clear trail, because when you hold the leaf up it's clear between it because they've eaten all the green bits. And I definitely have had it on my lettuce, which is really weird, and my brassicas. But I was weeding in here very end of last week, just picking out the odd weeds as I was watering. And I looked and I thought, I've got some really strange looking onion things. So I'll bring you down and I'll show you some of them. And if you've ever had allium leaf miner, let me know. I mean, I know how to control it. You can't really get rid of it. And it's about keeping your onions covered. When I say alliums, that means your leeks, your garlic, everything. I didn't see any curly leaves in my garlic or my leeks, so this is a new arrival, like in the last month since I put these out. So let's have a closer look. So I hope that's in focus. I've just taken the the phone off the tripod and just resting it on the edge of the raised bed. But can you see that? See that one there? How distorted it is? And I've got several of those around. I mean, there are other reasons why you can get curly leaves. But I looked at them and I thought, no, I don't seem to fit that profile of any of them. So I'm going to have to do a bit more research. If it is allium leaf miner, as I said, not much I can actually do to get rid of it. All I can do is prevent getting it once I put my onions in. They do have a season, and I can't tell you off the top of my head what season they are. So I'll have to do a bit more research about that too. But yeah, a bit annoying, but not the end of the world. The onions will be perfectly fine as long as they're not overly affected from them. I mean, there's worse things to get. I mean, you could get allium white rot and your onions just turn to mush. So while it's annoying, it's not the end of the world type thing. Right, I'm going to take you down and show you my pumpkin issues as well. So this is my pumpkin bed that we planted out last vlog. Now, as you can see, this one here, that leaf is really ragged, and there was a pumpkin just over there. However, not the cats this time. It was the wind. And what happened was that the pumpkin got blown and blown, even though I had it supported with the little bamboo canes. It got blown, it just went round and round, and it just twisted itself and died. So that was a shame. And I didn't have any more of that particular pumpkin, which was one of the tiny ones. So what I've done is I've directly sown 2 butternut seeds in there with the hope that at least one of them will grow. So that's there. Now the other thing, and I'll just move the camera ever so slightly, just hold the phone. Right. So I was going to put in some sunflowers in the pumpkin bed, and that's the stake for it. However, I put the sunflowers out to harden off on the deck. I had them in a sheltered spot, but they've all snapped. Wouldn't you believe it? Even though they were supported, etc., they still snapped. Probably because they'd been in the greenhouse too long and got, So what I've done is I've planted 2 seeds in each of those areas, and done that for the 5 stakes, and hopefully I will get sunflowers. It only went in a couple of days ago, so yeah, plenty of time. Outside tomatoes. So these were the half money maker, half Roma, so 3 of each, though I got an extra Roma in there, didn't I? Because one of them was a wee bit suspect. It has survived. Now, I have cleaned these up and tidied these up about a week ago, maybe? Yeah, about a week ago. But they're doing well. Definitely growing well because I tied that one there near the top of its growing point, and it's already put on about another 15 centimetres, so that's great. I do need to give these a feed of seaweed this week, probably do it tomorrow because I've done enough seaweed feeds today. I've done the whole greenhouse, so I'll do the outside stuff tomorrow. Yeah, pretty happy with that. I do notice a bit of digging over there, but I'm pretty sure that won't be with boys because it's not in the right place for them to dig. But okay. Now, I have trimmed these, but one of the things that I do, and I don't know if other people do it, is that because my tomatoes and things like this, like all plants, will go towards the sun, and the majority of the sun is over that side, so it sort of starts over there and moves across. Sorry, you missed that finger there. And it eventually, the west is out that way, will set at this time of year over there. The plants do tend to grow towards the live course. So I'm going to be planting basil here probably today. I've got it out and it's been hardening off, so it's sort of ready to go. And what I do is leaves like this that are growing out, and I don't want to shade my basil and things like that, I literally just break them off like that. And so I try and keep my tomatoes about halfway across the bed as much as I allow them to come, and then have the stuff here. These beds are 600 wide, dirt-wise. They're slightly, because this is 10 centimetre width macrocarpa, so that adds another 10 to there, so that's roughly 700. That's about as much as I can reach. That was my choice. If you're making them yourself, you may want to just literally make the total size 600 from outer edge to outer edge. It's up to you. But I was being a wee bit greedy? I don't know, whatever word. Because I wanted the maximum amount of growing space I could get, and that was 600 to make it usable. So yeah, happy with those. I've got flowers. Have I got any fruit on any of these yet? No fruit, but I have flowers, so that's good. Happy with that. And these, of course, the majority of these, the Roma will be all for sauces, of course, and I will probably chop up and freeze the money makers that I'm not using fresh. So, I mean, I can't eat that many money makers myself, and I do have one other person in the house that will eat them, but we can't get through the volumes that these guys will hopefully churn out this year. But they do make a good add to bulking out the Roma sauces that I'll make. I've also got quite a lot of beef steaks that hopefully will help and add to that too. And I've been doing a bit of reading. I've never grown black crim, and so I gather that's another one that's really good for sauces. So that's my next year's list. I've already drawn up my tomato list for next year, and I'm just trying to I'm happy with the beef steaks that I've chosen. I've got about 4 of them, and I've got about 4 cherries, so that's fine. And it was just my salad type tomatoes that I didn't really have it. I mean, the Roma sort of are over by themselves, but I only had Moneymaker Russian Red. Yeah, that was it, I think, as far as my salad ones. So I was looking for 2 others. I think I'll probably do one called Early Girl, and I've got a couple of other suggestions that people have given me off New Zealand Gardening on a Budget when I put a post up the other day, just trying to consolidate what I am doing. So I'll some of the tomatoes that I haven't eaten before, I'll be checking and making sure whether I'll do them again. So like with the beefsteak, I've currently got it on my to-do list next year with things like the Anise Noir, which is a beefsteak. Now, if that's not something I like, and I'm hoping it is because it's a heritage type one, then I won't do it again next year. I'll replace it with something else. So yeah, it's all about trying them out, and what's nice for me and what I like and works for me may not work for other people, and vice versa. So right, I've got things I'm going to take off and do now. I'm still putting some flowers in troughs and things. As you can see just before in the other shot, there was a painted red box just behind me that needs planting up with some flowers and things like that. So I'll be doing that today. I'm almost done with my flower troughs. I've been a bit slow this year with them. I've got a number of troughs that I won't be planting up because they're actually got bulbs in them still, and those bulbs are dying back still, so they haven't actually done everything that they need to do. I've lifted one or two boxes that had completely died back, that had some tulips and some bluebells, but the rest of them, yeah. And the bulbs that I had in the raised box planters in the front garden, I won't lift this year. I may lift them next summer if they put out a decent enough amount of flowers and see how far they've naturally bulked out themselves. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Someone's been here digging because the Roma signs got mixed up, dug out. Anyway, I will catch you probably Thursday or Friday if there's something there to do I want to show you. If not, I'll catch up with you for a coffee, but we'll see how it plays out. See you soon. Good morning. Well, it's Friday the 5th of December. Almost said November then. And it's about 20 to 9, quarter to 9 in the morning. I'm hiding out in the back garden at the moment. As you can see, it's partially under shade, which is good because that's what I want to show you about and what I got up to yesterday. I just sort of started doing something and wasn't recording it because it was just sort of quite in the moment, on a spur of the moment thing, because I wanted to get some lettuce in, and I knew today is going to be very, very hot. It's going to be about 27, 28 degrees, and any lettuce I'd plant would really cook. It doesn't matter where I put it in this back garden area. But I'll show you what I've done and why I've done it and all that. So I'll just move the camera. Sorry, the top of my head's cut off, but yeah, I want to be able to show you what I'm doing. So this bed that we're at is the one that had the broad beans in and things. And yesterday I popped 6 tomatoes in here that were sort of leftovers from what I had, and I thought I can't throw them out. So anyway, I planted them, but I wanted this to be predominantly, well, at least the front half, to be my lettuce bed. We don't go through a lot of lettuce because there's only me and hubby and sometimes one of our adult children. So yeah, so in the past when I've planted lettuce out anywhere along this bed or even into the main beds, they do really well for a while, then we get a really stonkingly hot day and they literally cook. And then of course they just rot inside. So I wanted this year to try and put up some sort of barrier to filter the light for them, so that when we do have a really hot day like tomorrow, that they have a better chance to do it. So what I've done, even though I know I've got my tomatoes at the back here, is I've put up some shade cloth, the stuff, the windbreak stuff that I used for the blueberries and things, and the lemon and what have you. It's actually the same cloth as the had around the blueberries. I've just recycled it, as with most of the posts too. The only thing that's new in this whole put together thing is the staples that are holding it together. So what I've done is I've put in a number of stakes, all at different levels because I couldn't get them to bash down even with the big hammer any further. Then I have at the top here, I have put just, at the moment it's only one, I might need to put more. I use the staple gun and put a staple there. So I've stretched that across. And then to hold it taut, what I've done is I've actually wrapped the cloth around another stake, and I've just used plant ties to hold that there, so if I need to wind it or unwind it anymore, I can. Now, when I put it together, I noticed that if I laid it so that it was at the level of the actual bed, and sorry you can't see it, it would be touching the lettuce. So I found some fairly big 10 by 10 sleepers type things that I had laying around. So I've just raised it up a bit so it gives it another 10 centimetres. And then I can just put it down like that. Or the other thing I can do is I can actually just drop it around the back if I want the whole bed to have the sun for the day. So if it was a shitty day and I wanted it to have some extra light, and I was worried about the lettuces were getting a bit long and straggly. So on hot days I can pull it across, and here's the other one. So you can just like wind it up further a bit like this. I've got bamboo on this one because I ran out of stakes, and then just drop it around the back. And then the lettuce are just sitting here. This is the extra thing that I put on top of the edge of the bed just to raise it up a wee bit further and give it. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. I'll bring it down a wee bit closer in a minute and give you a better, bigger show. Just hang on. Right, that's a better picture of it. So as you can see, there's got the extra bits just here. And then all I have to do to get the shade across is bring that down like that, and that one like that, and they're weighted so the wind won't knock them down, and there it's shaded. And on cloudy days or days where it's not boiling hot, I can just roll it up and drop it at the back, and it shouldn't shelter the tomatoes too much because they're sticking out the top really. So yeah, quite chuffed with that. It was just a spur of the moment thing, so I'm pretty pleased. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with that. Of course, the test of the pudding will be to see how it goes and whether it helps protect them or not. Tomorrow's is meant to be really, really hot. Lettuce only went in yesterday, so they're still really vulnerable. So if they survive tomorrow and then we get a cooler day for Sunday, Sunday. No, I've got that completely wrong. Today's Friday. I have to remember that. So it's really hot today, cool on Saturday, and then it's meant to be really hot, actually even hotter than today on Sunday. So if they survive through that, then this has done its job, and that the wind, because we're meant to be getting strong nor'westers, doesn't blow the shite out of it. Will be good. So I'll update you maybe next week. I'll see how it goes and how this lettuce survived. But in the meantime, I'm off to do some watering because I need to get the water into the plants before the sun bakes them. Right, catch you soon. Well, it's Friday morning and I've just finished doing the bit about the lettuces and the little hut type thing I've made for them. And I've gone and got myself a coffee. I even had a bug there for a few moments, so definitely know I'm gardening. So we're going to have a chat about what we got up to this week. So we did a quick check out of the greenhouse, which I finally got fully planted out. It's sort of becoming a running joke in the family. Oh, has Mum finished a greenhouse yet? Yeah, no, but I have now, so I can say, right. So everything that's going in there is in there. The only thing that will change is if anything dies and I replant, or I've got seed punnet 6 cells that I'm propagating more seeds in. So that's the only thing that's going to be changing. It's all about plant care in there now, so making sure my tomatoes, capsicums, etc. Kept trimmed back and clean, that they get fed regularly. So this week it was seaweed feed, In 2 weeks' time, it will be sheep pellets, and in 2 weeks after that, it'll be another seaweed, and we'll just keep rolling that over. And hopefully, at some stage soon, I will get to see some ripe tomatoes. There are some tomatoes on a few plants. They are still quite small and babyish, but I did get them in late. I probably could have put them in way, way earlier, but I was sort of sticking to my normal timetable because I know that you can get caught out here in Canterbury by late frosts and things like that. And I just kept saying, the nighttime temperatures are not consistently over 10 degrees. Yes, we're getting stonking days, but the temps are dropping below 10 degrees. And once we're getting consistent above 10 degree temperatures most of the week, that was when I felt that it was safe to put the stuff in. I mean, we've had a couple of really late cold spells in late November where we did have snow hitting the tops of the hills around me. It didn't stay around too long, but it could potentially cause a frost. So while I'm in theory, compared to other people, and I hate comparing myself to other people, a wee bit behind, I'm where I want to be. So that's the best thing to look at it. We had a check out of the back garden, veggie patch, and what's going on there. My losses due to cat attacks or the wind damaging things, even though they had been hardened off, I thought, but maybe not enough. And my poor old garlic, which is still there, it's coming out this weekend, but I'm just keeping up at the moment with things like picking strawberries, picking raspberries, and I noticed that the red currants are almost there. So, just keeping up with harvesting, watering, and doing the other odd jobs. So I actually need to pull that garlic and see if I can put it out on the deck to dry and start to cure. So, otherwise everything else is basically where I want it, other than the, as I said, the few things. Oh, my beans, so waiting to see if they pop up. I did take my bean leftover bits from the 6 cells that had gone all in the 6 cells, and I took it with me when I went out to meet a few gardening buddies, and none of them had any ideas either. So if you do have any ideas about what's going on, the seed that I've put in is different seed. So I've taken a new packet, and hopefully next week I might go into town and I'll get some more bean seeds because I want to do some more succession sowing, but those bean seeds are and I've just started to harvest the spring onions that we put in about 3-4 weeks ago because they've really done their thing, so they're just right to start harvesting. So I'm pretty pleased with the back garden at the moment. Still planting, but still doing succession sowing and things like that. That's all good. So I won't say much about the lettuce thing because we've only just done that in the vlog. So we'll see how it goes, and I'll update you in the next week or two, see how it survives. Now, you may have seen my little video that I did the other day around subscriptions. Well, we've hit the 1,000. Thank you very, very much. I am so pleased. When I saw it click over to 1,000, I did a whoop whoop and a little dance around the study, and the family came out and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I've made 1,000." So thank you very much. I'm really pleased. If we can just keep it clicking over, I know it sort of sounds a bit naggy, but YouTube does weird things, and you can lose subscriptions through this glitchy thing that does, and loads of creators will talk to you about the fact that suddenly they've lost X number of subscriptions, and so if you can keep helping me, I would really appreciate it. I will start the applications not today, maybe tomorrow. It just depends on the weather. If it gets too hot, I'll go in and do them. So really chuffed. Thank you very much. It was amazing. Right, enough chatter from me. I've got my coffee. It's starting to go cold, so I'll have to get into it. And I've got a load of watering I need to get out and do. I've started, but I've still got a lot more to do because I'm hand watering. It takes time, but it's not unpleasant out here, so it is what it is. So I hope you have a happy and safe week, and that you have fun in the garden, and that your garden is turning out things for you to enjoy as well. So from me, for now, bye.